That's actually a good idea for me to do, is to create a list of these lower investment range that have really good. And just because you're investing less doesn't mean you're going to make less. I actually think you're going to get faster cash flow. That's why I like these business models, because think about it. If you build out a restaurant and you spend $2 million, your ROI to get your return on investment is way longer.
Hey, Beau, how's it going?
It's going well. Yourself?
I'm doing good. I wanted to talk to you today about how much does it really cost to start a franchise. So, you ready to go?
I'm ready.
All right. So, what's the typical out-of-pocket investment for starting a franchise?
It ranges. We have business models that are all in at 50,000 all the way up to several $1,000,000. We have a lot of good business models that are, and I would say most of them are between 60 to 150. If you're trying to leverage in, you want to keep your loan amount at 150, because we got a lot of banks we have a couple banks that will do 90% financing. That's their, go-to. Like, it's not an exception. They'll do 90% of the total startup costs if we keep the loan amount at 150 or less. So if it's a money thing for you, then we first, that's part of the discovery we always do, is what's your investment capabilities or your risk level. Some people say, hey, I have 300 grand in savings, but I'm not going to put it down. I could do a $1 million deal, but I want to start doing a $100,000 deal. It's hard to say, but if we got you into something that was an all-in investment of 100 grand, you would come in with 10,000.
So, for those 60,000 to 150,000, we're talking 6 to 15 grand out of pocket if you got an SBA 90% loan.
You got it.
All right. So let's just talk a little bit more about SBA financing. So how does SBA financing fit into this franchise ownership model?
Well, it's probably the best way to fund these deals, unless you have a bunch of cash in a retirement account. Then you could do a rollover, or if you've got a line of credit on your house. I think SBA loans are the best thing, because if you do a Rob's rollover, that means you're rolling over a retirement account that's eligible. You have to set up a C Corp. And I don't think C Corp's the best way to own a business, especially if you want to pull cash out or the cash flow today. If you didn't need the money and you were just, then maybe a C Corp might make sense. So equity line, like, I never want to tap my primary residence I want to keep that for other investments if I want to tap into it. So I would rather do, most of the time, an SBA loan. And they can fund anywhere from 80 to 90% of the startup costs. And it's a 10-year term, based on Wall Street Journal Prime plus a margin. The margins generally can go up to 3%. We see them usually between 2 to 2.75, depending on the deal itself. There's no prepayment penalty. And if it's an established franchise, it's relatively easy to get through the SBA loan process.
Are there any hidden costs people don't often think about when buying a franchise and getting SBA funding and all that kind of stuff? You mentioned, 10%, but is there anything else people need to be aware of?
There's a loan guarantee fee from the SBA. So they charge an upfront fee, which we roll into the total cost of the deal. And that varies by loan amount. It's generally from 0 to 150. I think it's straight 2% fee. So it'd be $3,000, right? If it was 150,000. And it goes up to as high as 3.75, depending on the loan amount. So that's an upfront guarantee fee, which covers all the defaults and all the things, right? Because these are government guarantee loans. So that's like the reserve to run the whole program, this guarantee fee. And then usually the bank might have a packaging fee or a legal fee, but there's not a bunch of other fees tacked on the deal. Yeah.
Okay, so can you mention any franchise models? You don't have to name names, but just kind of like types of franchises that cost, say, $30,000 or less out of pocket.
Payroll processing, about 115,000, 120,000 all in. Starts between, that's 12 grand out of pocket. A lot of youth sports, like soccer programs, no brick and mortar location. There's a lot of in the education space. There's a lot in home service and B2B. There's a ton, actually, the more I think about it. That's actually a good idea for me to do, is to create a list of these lower investment range that have really good. And just because you're investing less doesn't mean you're going to make less. I actually think you're going to get faster cash flow. That's why I like these business models, because think about it. If you build out a restaurant and you spend $2 million, your ROI to get your return on investment is way longer. So I like these less expensive business models. Vending, for example, it's not a franchise. Another one I really like is a medical staffing business opportunity. They have like 275 owners throughout the nation, and it's a great industry. They place over 150 different styles of doctors, traveling nurses, that kind of thing. Great revenue, recurring revenue, as well as permanent placements. But most of the things I think you'll look at is home service, B2B, some senior care is also pretty low startup, because that's usually not a lot of brick and mortar type of build out. Those are what you're going to see in that range. A lot of youth type of sports, basketball programs, soccer programs, swim schools, and you rent the pools from different gyms and hotels. You can start those relatively inexpensive. There's a lot of really good business models that you can get in, not that much capital. So I think it's pretty attractive to many people when they understand that I can get 90% financing, and I can put down 10 or 12 or $6,000, $8,000, and I can close this. And sure, I got to ramp it up and make it cash flow positive, but you're going to find out if it's a business model that you can ramp up quickly. And I think that's what a lot of people don't know. They think SBA is difficult. We can close these loans in like three weeks.
If you're looking to acquire a business, stop scrolling on Biz Buy Sell and visit franchiseresellelistings.com. We'll do a customized search. You can get on our weekly distribution where we're sending new inventory weekly to your inbox. So visit franchiseresellelistings.com and opt in today. See you there.
Hey guys, Beau here. If you enjoyed what you saw, please subscribe to this channel. We talk all things financing. I've been in the lending industry for over 20 years, and I'm happy to answer your questions and provide great content.